She texted me, "I'm moving on with my ex. You're good but not enough for my status." Months later, he left her and she came back begging on my doorstep. I am 34, and until a few months ago, I thought I had a good and stable marriage. We had small arguments like any other couple, but nothing serious enough to make me doubt us. I believed we were happy and building a life together. I trusted her completely and never thought she would break that trust. One Tuesday afternoon, I was at home folding laundry. It was just a normal day, nothing special. My phone buzzed on the table. I picked it up thinking it might be a small message about groceries or dinner plans. But when I opened it, I saw my wife's name and a message that shocked me. She wrote, "By the way, I'm moving on with Max, my ex." I stared at the screen, thinking maybe I read it wrong. Before I could even react, another message came in. She said, "You're good, but not enough for my status. I want more enjoyment in my life." It wasn't just the words that hurt. It was how casual she made it sound. No apology, no kindness. Just a cold statement that she was leaving me for a man she had already been with before. I had so many questions in my head. Why now? Was this going on for months? Did anyone else know? And then I thought about Max. I had met him once, back when my wife and I were dating. He seemed polite, but something about him felt fake, like he was always acting. My wife mentioned him a few times over the years, but only as part of her past. I finally typed a question back. "Max, the one who's married?" She replied quickly, "Yeah, his wife doesn't know about us yet. I'm just letting you know so you can move on too." She wrote it like she was doing me a favor. But what she was really doing was admitting she was with a married man who was hiding it from his wife. I sat there holding my phone, reading her words again and again. There was no guilt, no regret, just a feeling that she thought she was upgrading her life and I should accept it. And strangely, I didn't get angry or send long messages. Something in me just went quiet. I put the phone down and realized if she could throw away our years together so easily, then she wasn't the person I thought she was. I stood there thinking about all the years we spent together, the late nights talking about our future, the times we supported each other through hard days, the trips we took, and the life we tried to build. All of it now felt worthless because she could throw it away without a second thought. She said I was not enough for her status, but she was running to a man who was cheating on his own wife. The irony was almost too much. I decided I would not give her the reaction she might be expecting. I left my phone on the table and finished folding the laundry. I wanted to be calm before responding. When I finally picked it up again, I typed one word, "Congrats." No anger, no sarcasm, just a simple word that would make her wonder what I was thinking. She didn't reply. Maybe she expected me to fight for her or beg her to stay, but that wasn't going to happen. She had made her choice, and I wasn't going to chase someone who already decided to leave. After that day, I cut off all contact. I didn't look at her social media. I didn't ask friends about her. I focused on myself. I started going to the gym more, spent time with family, and went back to hobbies I had ignored for years. From what little I heard, she was showing off her new relationship everywhere. Photos at restaurants, trips, parties, like a highlight reel of a perfect love story. But behind those photos was the truth that Max still had a wife who knew nothing. About 3 months later, things changed. News spread that Max's wife had found out about the affair. She didn't just confront him. She went straight to a lawyer. Divorce papers were served quickly. She was asking for half of everything: his property, investments, and anything she was entitled to. They had been married for a long time, so she would get a lot. I didn't talk to Max, but I could imagine how hard that hit him. The man my wife thought was an upgrade was now losing both his marriage and a huge part of his wealth. I noticed a change in my wife's online life after that. The happy couple photos stopped. No more romantic captions. No more trips posted. It was quiet. That's when I realized I didn't need revenge. Life was doing it for me. Then one afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost let it go to voicemail, but I answered. It was her. But her voice was different. Not confident and cold like before. This time, she sounded scared. She told me Max had left her. saying it wasn't worth it anymore. She said she needed help. I told her I didn't see why I needed to know and made it clear I didn't care what happened between them. She tried to continue talking, but I cut her off and said I was busy. Then I hung up. 2 hours later, there was a knock at my door. I thought maybe it was a delivery, but when I opened it, she was standing there. Her hair was messy, makeup smudged, eyes red from crying. She looked nothing like the confident woman who had walked out of my life months ago. She stood there on my porch like she didn't know where else to go. For a few seconds, I just looked at her, almost not recognizing the person in front of me. It wasn't because her face had changed, but because the confidence she once carried was completely gone. Her shoulders were slumped, her eyes swollen from tears, and she looked smaller somehow, like the weight of her choices had finally fallen on her. "Please," she started, her voice breaking. "Don't leave me like this. I don't have anyone else right now." Her words hung in the air, heavy and full of desperation. I didn't move from the doorway. I simply looked at her and said, "You left me a long time ago. Remember? I wasn't good enough for your status. I was boring. You wanted more enjoyment." She quickly wiped her face and shook her head. "I didn't mean any of that. I was just, I don't know. I was being stupid. It was a joke. A bad one. I really do love you." Her voice trembled as she spoke, but I could see she was hoping I would grab onto those words like they could erase the past. I shook my head slowly. "No, it wasn't a joke. People don't throw away their marriage over a joke. You made your choice and you did it without hesitation. I didn't fight you then, and I'm not going to start now." My words were calm, but they were also final. She took a step closer as if closing the distance would somehow change my mind. I was wrong. I thought I knew what I wanted, but Max, he wasn't what I thought he was. He made promises, and I cut her off before she could even finish. "It doesn't matter. This isn't about Max. This is about you. You thought the grass was greener, and now that it's dead, you're standing at my door like nothing happened." Her eyes filled with tears again. "I'm sorry," she whispered. The words were barely audible, like she knew they wouldn't be enough. "I don't want your apology," I said plainly. "I want you to remember the moment you sent that text. The moment you told me I wasn't enough for you. That was the truth, at least the truth you believed back then. And that's not something I can forget." She looked down at the ground, her shoulders dropping even more. "So that's it? You're just going to let me walk away?" Her voice was shaky, almost like she still thought she could convince me to let her back in. I almost laughed at the irony. "You didn't need my permission to walk away the first time. Why would you need it now?" My words were sharp, but they were honest. For a moment, she didn't say anything. She just stood there, hoping I would change my mind. But I didn't. I stepped back slightly, making it clear the conversation was over. "Leave my house," I said quietly but firmly. "We're done." Her face fell completely then. She turned slowly and walked down the steps without looking back. I watched her go, not out of anger or satisfaction, but out of a calm certainty that I was doing the right thing. When I closed the door, there was no rush of victory, no feeling of revenge, just a quiet realization that she had lost everything she thought she was gaining. Max, the better life she imagined, and any chance of ever earning back my respect. She had burned that bridge herself. I didn't need to destroy her. She had done it all on her own. Months passed, and my life slowly settled into a new routine. First, I won't lie, it was hard. The first few weeks after she left, the silence in the house felt heavy. I would come home from work and expect to hear her voice or see her sitting on the couch, but there would be nothing except the distant hum of the refrigerator. I focused on myself, on my work, on hitting the gym, and on reconnecting with friends I had neglected while trying to keep my marriage alive. Slowly, day by day, I began to feel lighter. The pain was still there, but it no longer controlled me. I learned to enjoy my own company again. Then one evening, completely out of the blue, there was a knock at my door. When I opened it, I was met with a sight I honestly never expected to see again, her. She looked nothing like the confident, smiling woman who had walked out on me months earlier. Her hair was messy, her eyes were red and puffy from crying, and she was wearing a hoodie that looked 2 sizes too big. She stood there for a moment, holding her phone in one hand like she wasn't sure if she should even be here. Finally, she spoke, her voice shaky. "I made a huge mistake. He left me. I don't have anyone anymore. Please, can we talk?" I stood there in the doorway, looking at her, feeling a strange mix of emotions. Sadness, anger, and, most surprisingly, pity. Once upon a time, I would have let her in without a second thought. But that time was gone. I had rebuilt myself from the ground up, and I knew I didn't deserve to be someone's backup plan. I took a deep breath, stepped aside just enough to look her straight in the eyes, and said, "I'm sorry, but that door closed a long time ago." Her face fell completely, tears rolling down her cheeks as she whispered my name one last time. I gently closed the door and walked away, knowing for the first time in a long while that I had truly moved on.